This is Sharr, and we're here because we are willing to share the truth with you. We are here because they have been trying to erase Black history, and we are here to revive it and keep it going. We do a history lesson on a person each week, and then we talk about current events that affect the Black community, and we also are going to be talking about the midterms coming up so that we can educate our Black men and women before they go into the voting booth. We're doing a history lesson to educate America and our Black community, our Black children, our Black men and women, and our young people especially. So we are here to share with you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So today we have Madam C.J. Walker. Come on down. We're going to learn about her, and Sharr is going to take us into a history lesson this week for Madam C.J. Walker.
Thank you, Will. Hi, everybody, and welcome. As my husband already mentioned, as Will already mentioned, we're glad you're here to be a part of this on our platform called In the Face of Truth, okay? As Will mentioned, we're going to be learning something today about Madam C.J. Walker, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and get started with her. Madam C.J. Walker was one of the most successful entrepreneurs in American history and is widely recognized as the first self-made female millionaires in the United States. She built a thriving hair care business, created economic opportunities for thousands of Black women, and became a major supporter of education, civil rights, and Black institutions. Her early life. Madam C.J. Walker was born Sarah Breedlove on December the 23rd, 1867, near Delta. Her birth came 2 years after the end of the American Civil War. Her parents, Owen and Minerva Breedlove, had both been enslaved before slavery was abolished. Sarah was the first child in her family born into freedom. One of 6 children, orphaned by the age of 7 after the death of both her parents. She then lived with an older sister, but endured hardship and abuse. Okay? So did you have anything you want to say concerning her birth? And
interesting, she was born after the Civil War and after slavery, but she still was born in the Jim Crow era.
yes.
So she probably faced a lot of opposition, especially being a Black female.
That's a good point, Will. Very good point. Hi to everybody that's joining us. Welcome. All right, and so we're going to look at her marriage and her motherhood. At only 14 years old, Sarah married Moses McWilliams partly to escape abuse. When she was 17, she gave birth to her only child, Aledia Walker, and shortly afterward, her husband died, leaving Sarah a widowed single mother at just 20 years old. She moved to St. Louis, where her brothers worked as barbers. Sarah supported herself by washing clothes. She earned about $1.50 a day while hoping to provide her daughter with an education. And so we do see the struggles of Madam C.J. Walker early on in her life, Will, and the fact that she lost both of her parents at a young age. Not only that, she was put in an orphanage, and she endured and suffered abuse and was mistreated. And so we're going to see her life and how that did not hinder her from the things that she wanted to accomplish, okay? And so we're going to go on and read. Her problems, hair problems that changed her life. Around the age of 37, Sarah began suffering severe scalp disease and hair loss. A lot of people call the alopecia. Many Black women experienced similar problems because indoor plumbing was uncommon. Hair products were limited. Poor nutrition affected health. and harsh homemade soaps damaged hair. Sarah began experimenting with treatments and eventually worked as a sales agent for Annie Turnbull Malone, another successful black businesswoman. While learning the business, Sarah developed her own formulas. Okay? So we see here that she was having a hair problem, and as they mentioned, a lot of black women during that time, because of bad plumbing and other situations that added to that, unhealthful eating. We know a lot of our black people back during that time were not eating healthy, didn't get the health foods like we have available to us today. And so those are part of the problems that they were having. And so a lot of black women were having a problem with their hair, okay, falling out or not growing like it should. It was not in good condition at all. And so she eventually went to work for another sales agent whose name was Annie Turnbull Malone. And she began to learn how to make her own products, okay, while learning her business. Becoming Madam C.J. Walker. In 1906, she married Charles Joseph Walker, a newspaper advertising salesman. She adopted the professional name Madam C.J. Walker. The title, Madam, reflected the style of successful European beauty professionals gave her business a sophisticated image. Building a business empire. Walker created products designed to clean the scalp and help improve hair health. Her famous system included shampooing regularly, healthy scalp treatments, hair ointments, and proper grooming. She traveled across America giving live demonstrations. Instead of simply selling products, she taught women personal hygiene, hair care, business skills, and financial independence. Wow, what a turnaround from the things that Madam C.J. Walker had went through and experienced early on in life, okay? So now she was becoming an entrepreneur because she came up with her own ideas for different products, skin care, hair care, and whatnot have you, for black women in order to better their hair, to have personal hygiene products to take care of themselves. And so that is really awesome that she had this vision to be able to do that and to be able to start her own entrepreneurship in the hair business, okay, in the hair products business. The Walker Company. She founded the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company. Its headquarters eventually moved to Indianapolis. The company manufactured hair growth products, pressing oils, shampoos, soaps, and beauty supplies. Training black women. One of Walker's greatest achievements was creating jobs. She trained thousands of women as Walker agents. These women sold Walker products, owned their own businesses, earned incomes, and became leaders in their own communities. Many had never before been able to earn substantial money independently. Walker encouraged them to dress professionally, save money, buy homes, support churches, educate their children, and give back to their communities. Will, would you like to add something to that? Because that's really awesome.
You know, she was helping the young women, as I said. It couldn't have been easy at the time of her being a black female, but
Right.
she persevered through that and had thought enough of it to train other black women
Yes.
to do their own, to be entrepreneurs and not to depend on others, but to help themselves.
Exactly, and that's how it should be. We are definitely living in a time where African American people, we need to come up with our own entrepreneurs, our own businesses. And I know there's a lot of black businesses out here, amen. But once we get our own black business, we need to remember to reach back and pull somebody else up and help somebody else, you know, while we're building our own empire. There are so many other black people that we can reach out to and be able to help them, you know, to pick themselves up by their own bootstraps as well. But we do need, when you think about this, our black people, especially black women, we go to all these other different businesses that are owned by other people. They're owned by the Asians. They're owned by the, I want to say the Indians. They're owned by the Arabs. And we go and we buy all their products, but we don't even have stores in our own communities where we can, sell our own hair products, where we can sell our own skin products. Instead of running to other companies and other businesses to help build up their businesses, we need to be building up our own. And so that's very important, especially in the time and the things that we're facing right now and going through right now, with the fact that, this president and the administration that he's with, and how he's cut out so many jobs when it comes to African American people and women, have lost their jobs because of this administration, because of this presidency, with the Project 2025. It's time for us Black people to think outside of the box. Stop taking your money and giving it to other, I want to say other groups of races of people and communities of people. And let's learn how to bring our dollars together to be able to build our own, to be able to have our own, to be self-sustainable. And this is what Madam C.J. Walker was doing. She not only thought about, being an entrepreneur and having her own business and her own company, but she looked back to a lot of the women and brought a lot of those Black women along with her so that they could learn the business for themselves and be able to have something, for themselves within their own communities. And that's what it's all about. It's all about community building. Okay? We don't get to the top by ourselves, because she had help as well, because she worked upon Miss Malone's business for years, and she had to learn the ins and out of business and how business is run. Okay? And so we don't get there by ourselves. All right? So let's remember that. All right, the wealth. By the 1910s, her business had expanded throughout the United States, the Caribbean, and Central America, as she became one of America's wealthiest Black business owners. Although historians debate the exact definition of self-made millionaire, there is broad agreement that she built extraordinary wealth through her own enterprise. The philanthropy. Walker believed success carried a responsibility. She donated large sums to Black schools, churches, scholarships, and orphanages. She also became a major supporter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She contributed to campaigns against lynching, one of the era's most urgent civil rights issue. And it's also an urgent issue today, okay? So a lot of what she did was she took her wealth and she not only just reached back and helped other Black women to come along in the business that she was building and to learn how to operate that business, okay? And not only did they get paid for that, but she also was a philanthropist, okay? She took her money and she gave money back to the community from which she came from, to help build that community. She gave large sums to schools, to churches, to scholarships and orphanages. And then she became a major supporter of the NAACP, okay, and contributed to campaigns against lynching, one of the era's most urgent civil rights issues. We know that, money is the answer to everything, Will. We're not to love money. But money opens doors. Money, as they say, money talks. And she had the money to be able to do that, to be able to give back, to be able to build up, to be able to help the different organizations, to be able to put money back into the community. And y'all, this is what we need. This is why we as a Black people, we got to think out of the box. We got to come together, put our heads together, okay? And we got to brainstorm and come up with ideas where we can have our own businesses, our own grocery store, our own beauty supply places. I know there are plenty of those out there that Black women have started, and hurrah to the Black women that have beauty supply stores, okay, for us to come and buy our own beauty supply from our own people in our own communities. So hats off to you, but there's so much more work that we have to do. This woman had a vision, okay, and she followed through on what her vision was, okay, and became one of the wealthiest Black women, the first wealthiest Black woman in America. So let's look at the civil rights activism. Walker was not only a businesswoman, she publicly spoke about equal rights, voting rights, education, and economic opportunity. She believed financial independence strengthened the fight for justice. So not only was she an entrepreneur, Will, but she got involved with the things that matter when it comes to black people. We have to get involved, y'all, okay? We can't just sit on our hands and think that somebody else is going to come along, okay, and do what needs to be done and do the work. We have to get involved, okay? We are under attack in 2026, coming from this presidency, coming from the Project 2025 that they have pushed out here, and the different policies that they are pushing to try to take us back, of which they've done a lot of damage already to the people in the Deep South by pushing the Jim Crow laws and allowing those laws to be put back into place, where blacks can't go into the same bathrooms as whites, or blacks can't drink from the same water fountain. I mean, come on, what kind of stuff is it? We are in 2026. This should all be behind us, y'all. But here we are facing it again today. So just like Madam C.J. Walker, we need to speak out. We need to speak up. We need to stand up, okay? And we need to go and
Vote.
That's right, Will. We need to go and vote, okay? We can't tell you who to vote for, but listen, if you want to see change, if you know this is affecting you and your family, and the things that they have pushed upon the African Americans, and not only African Americans, because we don't make this all about us, on the marginalized as well, okay? Just because people don't have the money, like the billionaires and the millionaires and whatnot have you, that don't give them the right, okay, to put their foot on us. That does not give them the right to make them think that they are any better than anybody else. All right? So it's time to stand up, y'all. It's time to speak out. And it's time to get out in the midterms and go and vote. Okay? All right. And we got a thing up here that says, from Elas Berlin, convert to Islam. No, sir, we will not. Jesus Christ is Lord. He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And that's who we serve. All right? Okay. So the Villa Lauraro, okay? Walker built a magnificent mansion called Villa Lauraro in Irvington. The home became a gathering place for many influential black leaders and demonstrated that a black woman could achieve extraordinary success despite the barriers of her time. Okay, so she built this mansion, and I saw a picture of it, and it is beautiful. It's in Irvington. I don't know if that's Irvington, Texas, because that's the only Irvington that I'm affiliated with. But anyway, she did build this mansion, and she built it for as a gathering place for many influential black leaders, and demonstrated that a black woman could achieve extraordinary success despite the barriers of her time. This is what's wrong with America today. They're afraid of black women. Okay, they're afraid of black women that have knowledge, that have wisdom, that are entrepreneurs. It's always the women that get things done, believe it or not. Okay, most of the time men are in the back while the women are doing the hard work. Okay, and so this is what she was doing. All right, but she did that with a mind to incorporate others, to bring others together, to be able to stand up and to stand together for something. And this is what we have to do. We need to come together, black people. We need to stand together. Our young people need to stop shooting and killing one another, because it's not helping, it's hurting us. All right? But it's time to come together with a vision and run with that vision. All right? And work together to build and have something together. We can do this. All right, so her legacy. Walker changed American history by proving that black women could become successful entrepreneurs despite the severe discrimination of the early 20th century. Her lasting contributions include building one of the first major black-owned national businesses, creating economic opportunities for thousands of black women, supporting education and charitable causes, funding civil rights efforts, including anti-lynching campaigns, and inspiring generations of entrepreneurs. Her influence can still be seen today in Black-owned businesses, the beauty industry, and the ongoing tradition of entrepreneurship and community investment. Okay? All right. So this is her legacy. This is Madam C.J. Walker's legacy. Madam C.J. Walker did not inherit wealth or receive a large investment. Okay, so her wealth wasn't handed down from generation to generation, as we see a lot of the Caucasian families. They've saved up wealth and they pass it down to the children. Many Black people, we don't have that opportunity like that. Our parents didn't have the money. A lot of them did not have the money to be able to pass down to their children. Okay, and Madam C.J. Walker didn't have that inherited wealth. Instead, she gradually built her business through hard work, innovation, and careful planning. Upon creating her own line of hair care products and more, Madam C.J. Walker knocked on doors, visited churches, and spoke to women's groups, all the while demonstrating her products in person. So she did the legwork, Will. She got out there, she knocked on doors, okay? She visited churches and she spoke to women's groups in person about her products. She did the hard work. Is this thing that we have to right now today stand up for and fight against, is it going to be easy? It's not going to be easy, y'all. It's not going to be easy to gain ground back when so much ground has been lost already. But we still have the opportunity, and that opportunity is to get out and vote in large numbers and crowds when the midterms come in November. If you want to see change, you got to get up and go vote. Okay, that's probably our last option, is the voting option, to be able to vote. And I see there's some things I was reading about a judge today that struck down the fact that Donald Trump, wanted to change a lot of the ways that voting has been done. One of them is the voting in person. Okay. And so there are judges that are standing on our behalf, y'all. And so we need to get out and go and vote when we get that chance. All right? Because if we don't, we will not see change in this country. And another thing is, me and my husband, we push that prayer. First of all, go to God in prayer and allow God to lead and guide and direct our footsteps. The word of God says that a good man's steps are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. So if we put God first and allow God to be God, and no, he's not the best president. Trump is not the best president ever. He's the worst, and he will go down in history as such. Mr. Slick Nick 68, he's the worst president ever. Oh yeah, not only on behalf of the blacks, but on behalf of people in America in general. He's the worst president. Okay. So we're going to read Reinvesting Her Profits. Madam C.J. Walker's strategy to success was simple and included using her early earnings and profits to reinvest in her businesses by buying more supplies, providing larger quantities of products, printing advertised materials, traveling to new markets, and hiring employees. This steady reinvestment allowed the business to grow. As supply and demand increased, Madam C.J. Walker decided that one central location was needful to continue manufacturing products, handle shipping, train sales agents, and manage advertising from one place. Thus, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company headquarters was moved to Indianapolis. Walker did not rely on a single storefront. Instead, her agents sold products in communities throughout the United States and later in parts of the Caribbean and Central America. This direct sales network made her brand one of the best known Black-owned businesses of its time. Okay, so I was sharing with them, Will, about her strategies and how she got to success like she did, okay? She removed the overhead. So she didn't do the advertising, which was very costly. What she did was she brought young Black women in as agents under her company name, all right? And so she trained them and taught them how to go out into the streets, door to door, and help sell her products in the communities throughout the United States and then in the Caribbean and Central America. And so this was her strategy. All right. And that's one thing we got to have. We got to have a strategy in this day and time that we are in. Talking to my black brothers and sisters, we got to have a strategy. We got to learn how to strategize, and we got to learn how, most of all, to pull together and work together. Okay. To have something for not only us, but for our generations that are coming after us. That's very, very, very important. Okay. Okay. And so now we're going to go back to giving back. Upon becoming successful, Madam C.J. Walker believed that she had a responsibility to help others. She did this by pouring back into the community from which she came through donations to organizations such as faith-based initiatives, campaigns which help to benefit the protections and rights of Black people, community-related programs, and the NAACP. The lessons from her success. Okay, so there are several lessons or principles which can be learned from Madam C.J. Walker's journey. And they are, she identified a real problem that many people shared. She learned from an established business before starting her own. She built a recognizable brand. She demonstrated her products personally to earn trust. And she reinvested profits to expand. She multiplied her impact by training others instead of working alone. Lastly, she used her success to create opportunities for other Black women and to support education and civil rights. So that was her strategy in it all. Those are the several principles, okay, that she lived by when it came to building, her success story, if you want to put it that way. Her death on May 25th, 1919, at the age of 51, Madam C.J. Walker died from complications related to high blood pressure. However, prior to her death, she had transformed herself from a laundress earning of $1.50 a day into the leader of one of the most successful Black-owned businesses in the United States. Her story continues to be studied as an example of perseverance, innovation, and community-minded entrepreneurship. Okay, and so that's all I have on Madam C.J. Walker today, and her story is an awesome story. Anybody can be encouraged from a young Black woman. You don't have to walk around with your heads down. Pray and ask God to give you a vision, okay? If you got a dream to have a business of your own, follow through with that dream, okay? Don't feel like that you're out there by yourself. God will put you in places that you've never been in for the right people to be able to help you, to be able to build your business, and to be able to help you to be successful, just like Madam C.J. Walker. Okay? So don't give up. Just because a lot of us have lost jobs because of this administration, God has a plan. The devil has a plot, but God has a plan. All right? So I'm going to turn it over to Will right now so that he can give his part.
I think that is interesting, what you said about her giving back. And we have a lot of Black rich people that have been successful and have given back, but not enough. Most of the Black people, especially athletes and men, rappers and so forth, they want to get their money and they're interested in the bling and getting the big mansions and the cars, and they don't really think about the community. We need more Black people who have been established to give back to the Black community and to give back to the people. And if we had that from the beginning, we'd be much farther than what we are today. So we thank Madam C.J. Walker. Also, if you're in Indianapolis, we'll get a chance to go to Indianapolis, and you get a chance to stop by the building that she has there and to get more information about her.
Let me say this to Slick Nick 68. We are going to delete you off of our channel because our channel is not here to cause confrontation or anything like that, and that's exactly what you are doing. So we want to say bye-bye, Nick. Bye, Slick Nick. Okay. You put your negative Nancy words in, and that's not going to stop us from doing our work and our job as to what we are doing to teach and to expound and to encourage our black neighbors and our black sisters and brothers, to pick up the pieces of their life and to go on. Okay.
Mhm.
So please don't come on our platform anymore unless you have something nice to
Well,
say.
he's been blocked. So
Exactly.
he's
Thank
out.
you.
Okay, I was going to deal with him.
Thank
but
you.
You have some more quotes there? about
Yes. So now we're going to get on to our Madam C.J. Walker quotes. Her first quote says, "There is no royal flower, strong path to success. And if there is, I have not found it. For whatever success I have attained has been the result of much hard work and many sleepless nights." Okay, so that's her first quote. And I'm going to let Will read the second two. So she's letting you know on that first quote that success does not come easy. You have to work hard in order to be successful. Okay, and that's exactly, she said, she had to work hard, and she said she had many sleepless nights. And that's just the pathway to success. Okay, it's not an easy pathway. But if you continue down that road to be successful and to be an entrepreneur just like her, then you will see the results at the end are very beneficial. Okay, so here's Will to read the other two Madam C.J. Walker quotes.
The second quote says, "This is the greatest country under the sun, but we must not let our love of country, our patriotic loyalty cause us to abate one in our protest against wrong and injustice."
That's
And
right.
third, America doesn't respect anything but money. What our people need is a few black millionaires.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's so true. I love what she said, where she said America doesn't respect anything but money, and that's exactly what it is. They have a love of money in this country, and they don't mind who they go, whose other country they go, and they pillage and they steal and they take from. That's the American way here in America. And it's so sad because America has enough money to give to everybody here in America to be able to do well for themselves. But yet they continue to take because they don't get enough. And that's nothing but pure greed. Okay. And so that's something God will deal with as well. So thank you, Will, for reading those two. Our last thing that we have is our 3 things to remember. I always try to take something away from each and every legend that we learn about in our Black history. And so 3 things that I took away from Madam C.J. Walker and her life and her story and her success story is, number 1, don't build your life's future off of hurt, disappointment, or failure, but rather build it on hope, a plan, and a vision. And I got that from her, Will, because she had what she had been through with losing her parents, and also the abuse and the hardships that she went through at a young age. Okay, but it did not stop her from pursuing her dream, and that's truly a blessing. So don't allow the hurt, the disappointments, and failure to keep you down, to keep you hostage. Okay, but rather build on hope, a plan, and a vision. If you have a dream, go for it. Okay, if you have a vision, you want to be an entrepreneur just like her, go for it. Okay, and then number 2, she said that just because you are down today, it doesn't mean that you have to stay that way. Just because you're down today, you may not have a whole lot today. You may be living off of just a little bit, going from week to week, paycheck to paycheck, trying to make it out here. It doesn't mean that you have to stay down, okay? And that's what Madam C.J. Walker taught me today, is that you don't have to stay down in the pit. You can come up from that pit. You can pull yourself up from your bootstraps with the help of the Lord and pursue the dream, the education, okay? The innovation, the entrepreneurship, just like she pursued, to be able to have something in this life, okay? And the third one, Will's going to read to us, and then I'm going to turn the platform over to him.
It says, "When you have a dream or an idea, pursue after it with diligence, hard work, and the confidence in knowing that if it doesn't work out, at least you gave it a try."
Yes, very good. Thank you, Will.
Okay, so there's our Madam C.J. Walker.
We give Madam C.J. Walker a big hand, okay? Her legend lives on today, all right? All right, Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay, so before going into a current event, we want to say, of course, we deleted Slick, whoever that was. And he knows that President Trump is low IQ, he's incompetent,
Yes,
and he's not intelligent at all. And he's the worst president this country has had, and they
that's
know
right.
this. That's why they keep referring back to Barack Obama. But we know this, and we don't have to even debate it. President Trump is a low IQ person. He's ignorant. He's incompetent. He's running the country into the ground. So we don't, and he knows that, and people know that because
That's
when you
right.
know that you're good at something, you don't have to keep repeating it.
That's right.
So we don't debate. And as far as I want to address Mr. Elias Berlin, I'm very well aware of the Quran, probably could school you in some of it, but the Word of God says Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the light.
Yes.
So we don't have no debate on that. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Elijah Muhammad has passed on, but Jesus Christ still lives.
That's right.
So thank you. All right, so we are going to go into update on the birthright citizenship, and we have a decision. The Supreme Court gave a decision that they would uphold the 14th Amendment, and Donald Trump cannot force citizens who were born in America to be deported and to say they're not citizens. The 14th Amendment, and I'm going to read you what the 14th Amendment says, in just case you don't remember what it was about.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment, I have it here. Let me see if it's in. I thought for sure I saved. Oh, you know what? I have it right here. Okay. Sorry about that. Make sure I got it right here. All right, the 14th Amendment, and of course it guarantees birthright citizenships. Okay, and I wanted to read to you specifically what the 14th Amendment says. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. So the Supreme Court voted 6-3 to uphold the 14th Amendment, and of course the sellouts, especially Alito and of course Sambo Thomas, they went against it, and Sambo Thomas wrote that while the Dred Scott case was bad, that the 14th Amendment only applied to former slaves' children. And so translated means I'm getting paid by the right, so I have to make up something stupid to justify me keeping my big bank account and payroll and keep getting my money. So there you go. But yes, birthright citizenship is upheld now. Trump and some Republicans want to make it now an amendment to the Constitution, which is going to take 3/3, I believe 66 Senate, the House of Representatives pass, and then 3/4 of the states have to pass that. So we'll see where that goes. It's very unlikely that that will happen, but of course they're going to try. But for now, the Birthright Citizenship Amendment is constitutional, and this should have been a 9-0 vote, because the Supreme Court is supposed to uphold the Constitution. But since we have a lot of right-wing Supreme Court justices on the court that is not interested in really upholding the law, but is really doing the bidding for Trump and the right wing. So this is why we need Supreme Court reform in 2028. We need to get a Democratic president. We need to get control of Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. and put 4 new justices on the Supreme Court from the left, and to balance this out, because we cannot continue to go down this road where there is really a criminality
Yes,
because they're not
exactly.
upholding the law.
That's
All
right.
right, so next week we're going to start with the midterms. We're going to start with the Senate races. I'm going to be talking probably about the main race, where there are now the races. I think Alabama in August still has some primaries to do, but Maine, their Senate race is set. I think Georgia's Senate race is set. So we're going to start getting in to, I think, Oregon and New Mexico. So
Yes.
we're going to be talking about especially the 4 toss-up Senate races that the Democrats need to win to gain control of the Senate. So we're going to be starting that next week. All right, and last but not least, we are going to give another update. We had a 20-year-old, this 21-year-old,
20 years.
well, I saw some accounts where it said he was
Yeah.
21. So Justice Kai James, he was with the Job Corps in Albany, Georgia, I believe.
Yes.
And he was there for training to pursue a better life. And on June 21st, he was out with his girlfriend just because for curfew at 8:30 p.m. And at 9:30 p.m., they found him hanging. A person of interest, a Caucasian student who has been questioned by the authorities, has presumably allegedly admitted that he had something to do with the hanging of Justice Kai James. They say that this young man is mental. They sent him off to campus. He's not allowed back on the campus, but they did not arrest him. And allegedly he has online that, yes, I did it, and there's nothing they can do about it. So we ask that you pray for the family of Justice Kai, and that the Lord will help us with this. This is a continuous thing
Yes.
going on down south especially. And again, I ask, where is Cash Patel? Where is the FBI? They're supposed to be
Yes.
there. Where's the Attorney General, Blanche? They're supposed to be there to protect the American citizens. Well, the answer is they do not feel that black people are American citizens. They don't feel black people are worth it. You know, they want to pour all into the Savannah Guthrie case, and more power to them.
Exactly.
Thank you for doing it. See, that's important too. However, there are many black families down south
Yes.
that want to know, where is our help?
Yes.
Where are we going to feel safe? When are you going to solve these crimes? So pray for that family. So that concludes our show today. Thank you all for joining us. Will, this is Sharr. This is In the Face of Truth. If you like what you see and hear, hit that like button and subscribe. We'll be back on Sunday at 11:30 on Facebook for Sunday morning worship service at True Apostolic Holiness Church. And on Tuesday night, Bible study, Psalms 18th Division at 7
Yes.
p.m. And then next Thursday at 6:30 right here on the YouTube channel, Sharr John's In the Face of Truth. So until then, we hope you have a blessed week. God bless you.
Thank you guys for coming. Don't forget, prayer, pray, and get out and vote come the November midterms. Thank you. Bye-bye.